Any day.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 2024 NFL season, the long-awaited 2024 season where Kansas City is trying for the three-peat, where the hosts for the J&J Sports Express will be with you every week until the Super Bowl is played. And we look forward to every week of football. I'm sure a lot of people are excited about this. So, hey, Thursday night, we usually do this show every Wednesday night, but this week we're doing it on Thursday. So let's get right ahead to the first game tonight. Is Baltimore, Kansas City. Kansas City and Mahomes at home. Chiefs are favored by 2.5. JB, who do you like?
It's going to be a great game. What a way to open the season. A rematch from last season's playoffs. Going to be a defensive battle. Always at the beginning of the year. The offense just is never ready to go. So I see this being a very defensive battle, and the Ravens have the better defense. I think that they're going to come out and they're going to do well.
So you're liking the Ravens in this game?
Yeah.
I have to disagree with you on this one. I like the Chiefs. Last year, the Chiefs played at home against the Lions. They weren't prepared. They showed a lot of inconsistencies. This year, the Chiefs, last year, let's look at it, folks. The Chiefs last year didn't even have a great year. Great season, had a lot of inconsistencies. The defense played well, and they still won the Super Bowl. You have Mahomes, you have Travis Kelce, you have Alexander Worthy, you have Juju Smith-Schuster is back. They got rid of Kadarius Toney. They got rid of Valdez-Scantling. This offense is loaded. As long as they stay healthy, and the Ravens, I don't think Derrick Henry is going to be the answer. He's a one-dimensional kind of player. Baltimore does have a good defense, but so does Kansas City. I think this is going to be a very good game as well. I got to agree with you there. But I like Kansas City. I like them laying the 2.5, and I think they definitely win by a touchdown in this game.
I'm just glad that we're going to start with a great game. If we're going to play football and it's going to be opening night, let it be Ravens-Chiefs. What a way to start.
Yep. Baltimore, nothing against Baltimore. I just don't think they're there. I just, when it comes to Kansas City and Baltimore, Mahomes definitely has Baltimore's number when it comes to straight up, but in the against the spread column, it's a close game, and Baltimore has the edge. But in this game, coming off the bat, first game of the season, I definitely like the Chiefs at home.
I definitely understand what you say. We're going to give you the red for the Chiefs. But we disagree with the first game already.
Okay.
Way to start the season.
Yeah.
Let's go to Brazil.
Friday night is Green Bay. Philly is supposedly the home team in Brazil. This game is on Peacock streaming. Green Bay at Philly. Green Bay, the Eagles are favored by 2.5. I'll start off this game. I like Green Bay in this game. What bothers me is the Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. Jason Kelce, we all know, the All-Pro Hall of Famer to be. He retired. Now, a lot of people think, you just throw somebody in there. It's not the way the offensive line works in the NFL, folks. It's not like throwing 5 guys out on a basketball court and letting them just shoot. They have to mesh. It takes time for an offensive line to really mesh. And Jalen Hurts made a lot of errors last year. He fell back, I think, in his, graduation, or you could say, learning curve in the NFL. He really took a step back because he was always going for the home run ball instead of seeing the whole field. Packers, we all know Jordan Love got signed to this massive contract. Now it's put up or shut up. But I think he can do it. I just think he got a little overpaid for this. But I like how they surrounded Jordan Love. He really is a guy that wants to take the team to the next level. And I think it's going to be a very good game. But I like Green Bay with the points. I think somehow they find a way to win and beat the Eagles in the first game of the season. What do you think, JB?
No one expected anything out of Green Bay last year. They were basically, looked past. Jordan Love was like, why is he there? Nobody thinks he's going to do anything. And all he did was put up. Now he got paid. And I think the Packers are real. I think they're going to go to Brazil. They're going to show up. and they're going to play a great game. On the other
Yeah.
side of the ball, you have the Eagles, who brought in Saquon Barkley. They lose Jason Kelsey, who is a huge part of their offense. I mean, nobody ever talks about offensive linemen, but Philly does the push-tush. And, with that, it goes right over the center. You're going to have somebody else there now. Is that play going to work? Is Saquon going to be able to run behind that offensive line? I got to like the Packers here. Nobody expects anything from them. There's no pressure. I think they just come out and play the way they've played. Their coaching is pristine. 2 years ago with the distractions and Aaron Rodgers, they just went out and played great football. They got the most they could from that team. Last year, the distraction was gone. The new distraction was Jordan Love play football. And what did they do? They had a great year. So I'm going to like the Packers here.
Well, Jordan Love, I got to tell you, that playoff game against Dallas, he really showed a maturation, you could say, in his football skills. Maybe he had it. Maybe he's always had it. He really knows how to see the field. I don't think the pressure gets to him. But then again, this big contract, a lot of money, you never know. If he continues the way he's been playing and he looks at the whole field, Packers are going to go far. Eagles have to prove something to everybody because they really fell apart last season. And Jalen Hurts, like I said, took a step back. The defense sometimes, the secondary for the Eagles, also they took a step back. Sometimes it looked like they could be thrown on, and it became a little bit of a problem. They lost to teams that they shouldn't have lost to, like Arizona. I love that game. I loved Arizona. Philly was right for the pickings. Green Bay's a tough team. They're no pushover, and I really think they have to take this game seriously. This is almost like a make or break season for Philly because of how they went backwards last season after going to the Super Bowl the season before. But I agree with you here. I like the Packers. I like the Packers to win the game on Friday night in Brazil.
Well, we agree. 1-1 so far. Let's go to Indianapolis.
Yeah, the next game. This is an exciting game. A lot of people. I'll let you go first. There's the Texans at the Colts. Texans are the favorite on the road by 2.
So, if you look back before last year, did you think we'd be talking about this as a great game?
Not really. I just the big thing that I'm looking at in Houston is C.J. Stroud, and I call him C.J. Strong because he is really like a seasoned veteran. He is a controller of the game. He almost doesn't need an offensive coordinator to tell him plays. I think he sees the field very well, doesn't make too many mistakes. He's got a full arsenal. I mean, you got Stephon, Diggs that just came there from Buffalo to play with this guy. They're loaded at wide receiver. They got a definite, tight end that's workable. As long as they got some kind of running game, help CJ Stroud out. And the defense has stars on it too. I love this game big time. Houston Texans. I mean, Anthony Richardson, again, after the big injury in his rookie year, now he's got to prove himself all over again. Can this guy stay healthy? I didn't like him even when he was in Florida. First of all, his accuracy is terrible, okay, and his completion percentage is terrible too. This guy, maybe quarterback is not his forte, but he's playing but he's not succeeding, and he was injured most of the season. It was a lost season for the Colts. I think Texans blow out the Indianapolis Colts.
Slow your roll. No way. That's not going to happen. Richardson coming back. He overperformed last year. He had another year of off-season practice to get the offense down. Jonathan Taylor, full strength. The Texans are on the road, week 1. The Colts want a little bit of payback from last year. It's going to be a great game. I think the Colts win by a field goal at the end. I like the Colts offense with Jonathan Taylor and Richardson in there. I think they have just enough to keep up with them. And I think their defense, it's gonna be a high scoring game. I would say it's definitely gonna be over. But I do like the Colts in this game.
Wow. That's a surprise. The Texans favored on the road. If this game were in Houston, they'd definitely be up, I think, either 5 or 6 points as a favorite. And I think the Colts are, they're I don't know. I just don't, they don't give me a good feeling in my stomach. I think it's overhyped with them. Jonathan Taylor. Yeah, a year goes by and you age in the NFL. And Jonathan Taylor, he ran a lot last year, and I'm just not comfortable with the Colts. I mean, if the Texans take the Colts for granted, yeah, they could lose this game. But first game out, I like DeMarco Ryan. I think he's a great coach. I think he has big things for Houston. He's brought this team back. I like the Texans big, my friend. I have to disagree with you.
Wow, we're 1-2 right now. We're in Detroit.
Sunday night, this is a big game. You got the Rams in a rematch at Detroit. This was in the wild card game last year. Rams lost by a point. Detroit, I don't know. They made some changes to their secondary, but I'll let you take this game. Go ahead. You start it off.
Because it's 3.5, I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Lions win outright, but I think when it's all said and done, it's going to be a close game. Stafford's going to come back to Detroit again. He wants to get that win in. He wants to show the people in Detroit that he can win. He won a Super Bowl, but winning in Detroit is just as important to him. He has a lot of ties to the community, and the defense in the Rams is pretty good. The Lions, on the other hand, I don't know. After what happened last year, I have to see something from him. I don't know if I trust that offense. Goff is a little iffy. I don't know in big games, because this is a big game for them. I don't know if he's going to step up. So I kind of like the Rams here with the points, but the Lions to win.
You know what? There is a lot of question marks with Detroit. Made a lot of suspect calls in that championship game against San Francisco. They should have won the game. They were up 24-7. They blew it. And I really think, they have a lot to prove this year. Dan Campbell can't make those kind of mistakes, decision-making mistakes in the championship game. The secondary is what I think Detroit is uncertain with. They made some changes in the offseason. Obviously, you can't look at training camp or exhibition games as anything as a blueprint for what's going to go on in the regular season. Stafford always has something to prove when he comes back to Detroit. I like the offense on the Rams. We'll see what happens, but I like this as a close game. I think Rams maybe win by 1 or 2 points. Taking the points, got to love it. Rams on Sunday night at Detroit.
All right. Monday night, the Jets, they're buying into them. We went through this last year before game 1. Aaron Rodgers is the savior. The Jets are going to be the Super Bowl contention. They're going to San Francisco. They're 5-point dog, and I think they're going to get beat by 14 because they're the Jets. The 49ers they're an all-star team. They have Ayuk. They have Kittles. They have just at every position. They have all pros. They're going to play a Jets team that's overmatched. Their coaching is not as good as what they have in San Francisco. Salah's not a great coach. Good defensive coordinator. Probably one of the best. But when it comes to head coach, he's not the best. Aaron Rodgers can only do so much. And I don't think he's the difference at this age. So I love the 49ers in a blowout.
Wow. I think this is going to be a closer game than everybody thinks. And I think the reason why it's going to be close is the Jet defense. Jet defense takes control of certain games, and they kind of, set the tempo. The Jets, I do agree with you, Robert Saleh. I don't even think he's a great defensive coordinator. I think they got the Jets' problem is they've always hired defensive coordinators, not offensive coordinators. He is the kind of coach, by the way, he has to have great players to really do something. He's not the kind of guy that develops guys. He's not the kind of guy that says, elevates guys to the next level. It's either they're there already or that's it. And Robert Saleh, this is definitely a make it or break it season for him. Considering Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people don't realize. There's a little feedback there, but a lot of people don't realize his last year in Green Bay was a a bad storm. And he didn't have a good year in Green Bay. He did not play well. They did not play well as a team. He had a lot of interceptions. And then, his first season with the Jets, he tears his Achilles. He's out for the whole year. That is another year he's out. Everybody's looking, he's in great shape. He's in this shit. He's not in game shape. All right. Game shape is different from great shape, when you don't play. And, Charles Barkley said it right. He says there's game shape and there's being in shape. And Aaron Rodgers has to prove he's in game shape because he didn't play anything in the offseason, in the preseason. So we really don't know what's going to happen when some defensive line is like shooting for him and going for him, and he's got to either scramble or pass that ball. How is he going to take the hits? He's 40 years old. Right now it's a lot of talk, but the Jet defense is what's going to keep them in this game. I like it as a low-scoring game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. Both of these teams cannot start 0-1. There's a lot of pressure on both teams. Robert Saleh has a lot of pressure on him because if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, they're cleaning house. Okay? The Jets are going to clean house and start from scratch. Robert Saleh, every player on the Jets knows that there's an X on their back. They have to get to the playoffs. So they cannot start off. If they lose in a close game here, it's acceptable. But that's the only loss that they can take. If they get blown out, they got to blow up the drawing board. The 49ers also, Kyle Shanahan, for some reason, he could get the team to the Super Bowl. He can't win the Super Bowl. He has a problem. He offensive coordinator with Atlanta, he blew it. You got San Francisco, he's blown it so far. Somehow last year in the overtime, players didn't even know the rules. You got to prepare you guys. That's what the head coach is all about. The buck starts here. 49ers, very talented on both sides of the ball. Can't argue there. But this is going to be a closer game than people think. And I like the Jets plus the points on Monday night at San Francisco.
So we agree on 2 and we disagree on 3. Interesting. Usual for us.
Something like that. I think it's even just we agree on 1 and maybe disagree on 4. Because you like Indy. Oh, that's right. You like the Rams, but you like Detroit to win.
Yeah.
Okay. Different reasons, I have to say. I think it's an exciting year. There's a lot of teams, a lot of pressure. One of the games we're not looking at is the Dallas-Cleveland game. And I got to tell you something, a lot of pressure on Dallas. Dallas cannot that's another team that if they don't win, if they don't go deep into the playoffs this year, I can tell you that's another team that's going to be cleaning house. Jerry Jones, he was smart not to sign Dak to this quarterback Dak to the long-term contract. He's already getting $55 million. You know what? Show me you can get to the Super Bowl. Okay?
Yeah.
Show me what you can do. Mike McCarthy, show me. And Jerry Jones.
You can't just, continually underperform. You can't get to the playoffs and disappear. You have to get there and do what you need to do. And, if you want to get paid, that's part of what needs to be done. You have to get to the playoffs, win games, and play in that last game and hopefully win it. But you have to play in that last game.
That's right. And that team is not getting there. And, people say, the players are in control. No, Jerry Jones is in control. They're getting paid, yes. But at the end of the day, Jerry's signing the checks, and the one who signs the checks is the one who's really in control. And Dallas has to get deep into the playoffs. But they have a talented team on paper. If you look at the team, you say, hey, it's a great team, this and that. Well, show me. And they got to really do gangbusters. But a lot of people, because the pressure is there, a lot of people have said that they think Dallas might not even make the playoffs.
I don't know about that. I don't think there's, 4 teams that are better than them in the NFC. After you take off the 3 other division winners, they'd have to be,
Right, but things have happened. You know that.
Oh,
looking at NFL seasons, teams that were predicted to go to the Super Bowl, they ended up in the toilet bowl. So you never know. We'll see what happens.
The games.
Yeah, you got some exciting games week 1, and that's great. Love your comments and everything. Follow us every week. We're going to be here every Wednesday through the Super Bowl, and it's going to be another great season on the J&J Sports Express.
So on your website, do we still have all the breakdowns of the games?
Yes, on my website at jeffcadillac.com. I have all this week's games. I already posted this week best bet of 2024 week 1 already on Twitter, and you can follow us here on Twitter at J&J Sports Express.
Yeah, I mean, we ran through it this week. We had our opinions. Some of the games, I think, were pretty straightforward, even though we disagreed. But we'll be back at our regular time slot next week, Wednesday, 6:30 Eastern, 5:30 Central, lunchtime around to the West Coast. But that's great because we have a game that follows tonight in about an hour, and you got a day, 24 hours every week to prepare after you hear our great information. And if you're not following Jeff, you're just wasting your time.
Hey,
a really good record year after
25 over 500 predicting all the games last year, analyzing all the games. I shouldn't say predicting, but 25 over 500. And that's all the games, not cherry picking one game here, 2 games this week. Every week. My record stands for itself, and it's on my website at jeffcadillac.com.
And he doesn't duck when he's wrong. He doesn't, disappear like some of the people you see on X that, tell you, oh, bet this, and then they're way off, and you don't see him for like a month. Jeff has his things out every week, his best bet. If he loses, he loses. He's a man. But guess what? He wins more than he loses. So if you're not following along, you're just fooling yourself.
And JB, where can we find you this season?
JB_ the program on X, Sideline Sports every Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central. We got Confidential still going on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. And who knows where else I am. I'm all over. I'm so busy, it's ridiculous. Like, you got to tie me down to get me in the studio. We had the trouble we had finding a time slot for the show because it's, one of the best shows out there. And, try to get both minds together with our schedules because we're both so busy. Jeff's just winning and I'm just trying to get on all my shows and do what I got to do. Make sure you go to jeffcadillac.com, watch it Sideline Sports. You get all the information you need and you'll have a successful year just like we're going to have.
Yep.
Anything else before we go, Jeff?
That's it. I just hope everybody has a good week and we'll definitely see you next week.
All right, guys. Enjoy. Follow Jeff and myself on X at JeffCadillac1 and at JB_ the program. And don't forget to watch Sideline Sports and go to jeffcadillac.com. See you next week.